A few weeks ago, I published a review video of the Yongnuo 14mm f2.8 lens. And that video's had a lot of responses from you guys, and quite a few of you have been asking the same sort of question. Is this a good lens for shooting wide angle on APS-C? No. Straight away, I would say for anyone who wants to shoot ultra-wide angle on an APS-C, you would be much better off looking at either Canon's 10-18, Takena's 11-20 f2.8, or any of the 10-20mm from Nikon, Sigma, or Tamron. But why? Now obviously buying full-frame lenses for an APS-C camera isn't always a bad thing. However, in the case of ultra-wide, it can be. Firstly, there's the focal length. 14mm is definitely ultra-wide angle on a full-frame camera. However, on an APS-C, you have to add the crop factor into that, so suddenly 14mm isn't really that wide. For example, when you buy a full-frame camera, you will usually get a kit lens that starts at 24mm. So 14mm by comparison is a huge difference. It's almost half the focal length. By comparison, buy an APS-C camera and the kit lens will usually start at 18mm. So 14mm by comparison really isn't that much of a difference. A 14mm lens on a crop sensor camera is going to give you an equivalent focal length of more than 20mm, which actually makes a huge difference in what you can see. To demonstrate this, here we have a photograph taken at 18mm on an APS-C, and here it is at 14mm. Now let's look at a full frame camera shot at 24mm and now at 14mm. You can see the difference between what you can see is huge. Now obviously this is just a factor of crop sensor cameras. All lenses on a crop sensor camera have to be multiplied by their crop factor. However, in the case of this lens, it's a lot of money to spend on a lens that doesn't really give you that much of an ultra wide angle. Now, all of the 10mm lenses that I suggested do have smaller apertures than the Yongnuo. So if you're wanting to have wider aperture shots, maybe for astrophotography or something like that, then the Takena 11-20 f2.8 is the way for you to go. Another problem is the weight. As I mentioned in my review video, this is a very heavy lens. And what's even worse is that all of the weight of the lens is situated in the front half of the barrel. I reviewed that lens on a Canon 5D Mark III, which is a big heavy body, and even on something like that, the camera felt quite front heavy. If you try using this lens on something like a small Rebel series body, it's gonna feel very unbalanced. So I would say unless you are planning on changing over to full frame very soon, 14mm prime lenses really aren't the best solution for ultra wide angle on APS-C. You would be far better off getting a dedicated APS-C ultra wide angle lens because it's going to give you a much wider field of view. So that is it for another video, and as always, if you have any questions or queries, comment box is down below and I will see you in the next video.